All right, let's do a brief introduction to the concept of a categorical syllogism and identifying its mood and its figure. Last week, we talked about the standard form categorical proposition, and this week we're going to be applying that knowledge to the standard form categorical syllogism. So the same format as before, a quantifier, subject, copula, predicate. But we have three of those. Three propositions makes a standard form categorical syllogism. A standard form categorical syllogism is an argument form that has three standard form categorical propositions, two premises, and one conclusion. If we can place these in the appropriate structure, then it can help us figure out if an argument is valid. So let's look at an example of one standard form categorical argument, syllogism. Premise 1, all mammals are animals. It's true. Premise 2, all cats are mammals. Also a true premise. Conclusion, so all cats are animals. This is also true, and it's true due to the premises. We can evaluate the structure of this argument, and there are only a certain number of possible structures of standard form categorical syllogism, and these structures can be categorized by assigning to them a mood and a figure. So the mood comes from the letters of the propositions that make it up. So here, all are of the form all x are y, right? All blank are blank here. That's an A proposition. So we have A as our mood of this syllogism. Next, in order to figure out what the figure is, we look at the terms that are involved. The minor term is the subject of the conclusion, and the major term is the predicate of the conclusion. So here we can find where the minor term is located. It's located in the conclusion, and it's located in premise 2. We can find where the major term is located. Again, the major term is the predicate of the conclusion. Here it's animals, so it's in premise 1 and it's in the conclusion. And then there's another term here, mammals, that's located in both premises but not in the conclusion. This is called the middle term. And the structure of the major, minor, and middle terms is what gives us our figure. So I've drawn a little diagram here of how those major, minor, and middle terms here are laid out. And there are actually 4 possible configurations of what this can look like. And we can evaluate these 4 possible positions of by referring to figure. This figure 1, figure 2, figure 3, figure 4. All have a subject and predicate in the conclusion one after another. The difference is going to be where the middle term is located. So you can kind of think of this as, in the book, it shows like a collar, diagonal, up, down, diagonal. So remember, just kind of burn into your memory the shape of this down, up shape. And then the predicate and the subject, predicate, subject, fills in the gaps. So for me, it's tough to commit to memory which figure is which, so I have to kind of redraw that out every time. So here, if we look, we see that the middle term is diagonal left to right. That is related to figure 1. So we have an AAA1 proposition, which is a valid form. And how do we know that it's valid? This one is, you might be able to intuit that it's valid, but what if you can't? How do we tell? One way to look is to diagram out. So typically what we would do is put the middle term on top, the subject on the bottom left, and the predicate of the conclusion on the bottom right. And then the first thing you do is you fill in the universal propositions of premises. So all mammals are animals, we shade that. All cats are mammals, we shade that. And then we see, without shading anything else, does it follow that all cats are animals? And indeed it does, because there's only that one little region of cats left. There are actually 16 unconditionally valid syllogistic forms. And what I mean by unconditionally valid is that they're valid without an existential presupposition. So on the Boolean standpoint, they are valid. And there are 9 more that are valid if we take an Aristotelian standpoint and assume the existence of certain terms. So by analyzing the mood and figure of any given categorical syllogism, we can figure out if it's valid.